The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sherapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are The Bostonian versus The Book.
You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus The Book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sherapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
Welcome into a Primetime Thursday, everybody, presented by Prime Sportsbook. He's Dave Sherapan. I'm Matt Perrault. We're live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the Book, the same on Twitter X. We are live. We are replayed on Sports Grid TV. We are replayed on SiriusXM channel 159. We've got our friend Adam Bjorn here at the top. Big Steeler game tonight, Dave. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm ready. It's supposed to be cold. Got the winter gear out. We're good to go. Looking forward to a primetime game because it's my team. The Steelers are playing. It's going to be ugly. Total's 36. Ugh. I mean, I don't even know what to say. How many points
are you
the
worried
Browns
at all?
gonna score? Worried they're going to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess anything could happen, but how many points are the Browns going to score? I mean, they're going to win this game 10-3, and they're going to need to play. That's the kind of game they're going to need to play.
I think it's going to be an over game. I think we see points. I think your defense might get exposed tonight a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is Tomlin's 0-5 on the road, divisional opponent on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
He's never won this game straight up. He's lost every time. He's 2-8 overall straight up on Thursday Night Football.
I know.
Short weeks have not done well for Mike Tomlin.
No.
And Jameis, his yards are so low. It's like 212 yards passing his prop for tonight.
Yeah.
Super low.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys are going to score on them. I think they're going to score on you. Brown secondary is trash.
This vaunted Saints defense held them to 14 points last week.
Yeah, but they still threw for 350 yards. They threw all over them. They just couldn't score. It's kind of like you guys. You guys moved the football and kicked 6 field goals.
Exactly.
So I don't think you'll kick 6 field goals against the Browns tonight. I think you guys will score tonight.
Russ is 4-0 lifetime on Thursday nights.
He is, which is interesting, right? So it's like, which trend do you want to follow on that? Although it's different when it comes to playing. He's never played Thursday night with you guys before.
Right.
It's been Thursday with Seattle. This is on the road. Wintry mix, our favorite term when it comes to football weather.
I mean, I miss a lot of things about, living back in Pittsburgh. Wintry mix is not one of them. I don't like the wintry mix ever.
Yeah, it's like snow or don't snow. Like, don't go in between. Don't give me like either or. I want either full-blown snow or full-blown rain. Like, don't give me a mixture of the two.
What's worse, when it's rain, it turns into snow, or when it's snow and then it turns into rain?
Well, snow going to rain means it washes it away. The problem when you go from rain to snow is that it freezes.
Turns to ice.
Yeah.
Absolute worst. I mean, put it in the chat right now. If you're here, you like, subscribe to the show, please. And then put what is worse, rain to snow or snow to rain. Because I think it's minus 8,000 that it's rain to snow. But
it's
again,
dangerous.
It's
snow to rain is easy because it just goes away, goes down the drain, and we're all good. The flip side is you get basically a skating rink with snow and ice, and just it gets dangerous. Like, black ice becomes a thing. Like, these are all the things that I don't have to worry about. Although our guest kind of does, because our guy Adam,
where's he at this week?
Well, he's in Michigan, so he got some snow today.
Yeah, we got some snow flurries this morning as I was dropping off the kids at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we got some snow. It was just hit the ground and melted, but it's here. Winter is here.
Do you have a snow blower?
Actually, we have something. We bought something at a yard sale that we used to get rid of the snow on the driveway.
Okay.
It's old. I'm looking forward to getting some proper snow so I can wheel it out and charge it up.
So For a guy who's from Australia, like what is your take on snow? Is it just like I want nothing of it? Is it cool? Is it unique? Like what's your take on winter?
So when we got a bit of a taste of it last year, I just done 20, 25 years in Jamaica. I enjoyed it. It was like, thank God there's no humidity. It's freezing cold, whatnot. It'll get old real quick, I imagine. And, I haven't had it. I've seen friends in like Toronto and that. They open up the door and the imprint of the door is there in the snow. I've never experienced anything like that. So we'll see what the first, real dump on us does to us. But it's a bit like the kids. Again, they think it's great until it starts melting and turns to mud and it's just no fun anymore.
Nasty.
There's nothing better as a kid than snow. You get to sled ride. You get to have snowball fights. It's great. I loved it when I was a kid. And then I got to be close to driving, and then having to shovel the driveway did it for me. I couldn't wait. When I lived in Curacao, I was like, I love this. I will never have to see snow again. And somehow I ended up in Vegas where it only snows once or twice a year and it goes away quickly.
Yeah.
Last week, we found you in Dallas for the fight. You were sitting, getting some sun. You looked great in the back of a truck, getting ready to go watch that fight. What was that like inside that place?
It was phenomenal. The atmosphere was 100% Tyson. It was every time Tyson come up, there was cheers. Every time Paul come up, there was booze. I tell you, the moment was when Logan and Jake were coming into the ring. And as much as the dicks you may think they are or whatnot, you had to look around and go, they've created something pretty awesome. They're entertainers, and they put on one hell of a show, and they got one hell of a fight card. No matter what the booze were and the whatnot on the main event, that women's fight and the earlier men's fight, like you dream of getting one of those fights a night on a fight card. You got two of them, and there was probably a third one that you could count into. Yeah, the main event turned out like we thought it would, Paul by decision. But, it was I'm glad I got to experience it because from what I'm hearing, not many people did outside of the stadium with that spinning wheel and whatnot. It was well worth it in the end.
We talked about it going in about Mayweather-McGregor and the betting unicorn that fight offered. For you guys, what was it like? Did you guys do well to it? It felt like the public just came in and bet Tyson like it was already over. How did the fight go for you personally and for Prime?
Yeah, great result. It was, we got the late Jake early prices, short prices, let the money come in, move Tyson fast. But once it got to plus 200, anything under that was just lay it. You just had to lay it, take the position. And then the Jake money come late and you got back up to minus 250, 260. But we had a fantastic book. The traders traded it perfectly. I think we held about 9%, 10% on the fight on significant volume. So all in all, it was a great night for the book on that one.
Are they going to do this again? Like, or is it getting to the point where it's going to be hard to sell that again? I mean, it wasn't a pay-per-view. I mean, a lot of people have Netflix, and obviously a lot of people were trying to watch it and experiencing streaming issues sometimes, and other times, can they do it again?
I think that's hard to sell again. I mean, it's hard to see where they would get someone else to. That was Tyson. People went there to see Tyson that had never gotten to see him fight in his heyday. Yes, now I've seen a Tyson fight. Checkbox kind of thing. You had people there going there for the entertainment, the celebrity value, all those kind of things. I'm not really sure who you can line up to get another 70, 80,000 people into a football stadium for that kind of event. Now, I saw yesterday where, one of the heavyweights that just knocked out Joshua come out. I mean, you pricing that up thing, he's minus 1,000, minus 1,200. There's no way I want to be touching Paul on that. And, he walks into a ring with a real fighter like that, and it's over in 1 or 2. I think what really happened in that fight, and I've not watched a replay, but Tyson hit Paul in that first round, and there was a look on his face that was, holy shit, I'm a boxer. I'm going to stay away from this guy. And that's kind of what turned the fight into what it was. Paul got one taste of it and was like, nope, I'm going to box this guy. Tyson was just looking for that one swing punch, and he was gassed by round 5. You could see he was done by then. And then you're kind of hoping, being on the decision, that he could just last another 3 rounds,
right? Which he did.
Unlikely for a moment, but he got there, and it was what it was in the end.
Yeah, I think people's frustration comes from the fact that Paul said after the fight that there was no need for anybody to get hurt. He essentially, confirmed the idea that he was carrying Tyson to the end, and that the videos have come back that showed Tyson pulling punches, and he had some openings, he had some windows to hit Paul pretty hard, and it kind of looked like both guys had an agreement to not hit each other hard, and then we found out afterwards that was kind of the boxing commission's lesson to them, or parameters to them of like, hey, we don't want to see anyone get hurt in the ring here. We're going to sanction the fight. We can't see anything too dangerous. No one wants to watch a 58-year-old guy get taken off on a stretcher. But could Conor do that? Could Conor fight Jake and put 70,000 in there?
Yeah, that probably is a fight that could. I don't know if he could get the 70, but it's definitely one that would draw a crowd, and would probably, again, it's sort of 2 celebrities, one a real fighter, not a boxer. Right. And it'd probably be a closer match on those 2 going for it. I don't know what the sizes are. Conor, I imagine, is a little bit smaller than Jake if he's got the weight and whatnot. So, that's sort of the thing now of where do you go from that? I mean, that was Tyson. That was the top heavyweight of the era of sort of that circa age. Any other proper heavyweight, younger heavyweight, is going to do a number on Paul. So he's going to have to select wherever he wants to go from here as well. Again, depending on what weight is he really? Does he come down to a normal weight and things like that? But, I guess we'll see what's next.
Before we get to business with games and specific stuff for this weekend, I somehow spent almost 2 hours this morning listening to the Massachusetts Gaming Commission hearing, and they were talking about the business and talking about I must have missed the part about the limiting of the players and the sharing of information and all this other stuff. But they had to talk about it. But I found it interesting at one point, Adam, that they mentioned kiosks and how they don't bring any value to the operator and they don't bring any value to the state in a lot of places. And they used Ohio as their test market. This Spectrum Gaming Group did a study. And I was like, oh, this is great. I mean, we'll talk to Adam today about, 1, the business in general, but 2, do you guys have kiosks? Do you use kiosks? I mean, the guy was literally, he said it costs more to keep the kiosk plugged in, regulated, and watched than it does amount of business that usually goes through them in a lot of places because everybody bets on their phone. And I went, exactly right. Like, they needed a year study commission they didn't ask you, me, anybody. Like, we could have told them, no?
Yeah, I'm very anti point of sale kiosk. Dead against it. Costs too much. We have bet Chris as a client in Latin America. Less than 1.5% of their stuff gets done over the counter in EPOS or anything like that. And they're in cash countries. They're in Mexico, they're in Ecuador, they're in, in Jamaica and those things where it's cash economies. So you get those players coming in, horse bettors, etc., over the counter. I think we've seen in Ohio that, the lottery just spent a fortune and they're just losing money hand over fist in what they're doing. And I guarantee you, the only place I'm betting in Michigan, on kiosks. I don't want me betting with me. You go in at sort of 11 p.m., you get what you need, and you get out. Whether, if you're doing 2% of your overall volume through a kiosk, 95% of that money is money you don't want anyway. So for me, I'm very much anti-EPOS, anti-kiosk or any of that stuff because, the overheads are much higher. It's anonymous betting generally, and there's no way to monitor it. Get people having an account through their phone. It's easier to profile, and you can give bigger limits. Generally, a lot of the kiosks have such small limits as well because they get out of control and they can't manage them.
But Adam, every book that quote unquote modernizes here in Vegas and in other markets as well, they are all going that route. They are lining up 8, 9, 10 kiosks. They're having 1, 2, 3 windows. We have a book here that's down the street from Dave and I that did a whole big, modernization. They redid everything and they put up literally about 20 kiosks. They have 3 windows. It's all kiosks. Why are books doing that then? And what you guys are saying is saying it's not worth it. It's not profitable. Why are we all doing this? Just manpower and keeping the hourly wage worker down?
Well, you bring up the one example, Nevada. Apparently, it's still 60% over the counter versus online. Now, whether that's they just don't have good apps. I mean, if you're sort of tested, I play on the app with Circa in multiple states when I'm passing through, but it's not a top line app. It's a bettors app of you find what you need, you put in your bet, and you get out. It's not an entertainment app like a FanDuel or a DraftKings and some of those. I mean, MGM's a decent one. You just have that. But, generally it's still the mindset in Nevada with like a South Point and that is old school. And it's still across the counter. And that's where a lot of their volume is still coming through. When I heard that number that it's still 60% over the counter, that's just, blows your mind. But there's not another state, country, or anything that I know numbers from around the planet that is anything like Nevada in that sense.
It's still the sportsbook experience. And a lot of the volume here comes from people from out of town. They want them in the book. Now, can they sign up for the app once they're in the book? Yes. And it's slowly happening. But when people were in town for years, they don't even want the app. They want to bring the cash either from the tables, from the cage, from wherever, from a duffel bag that they have, and they want to bet right with the cash, and they want a ticket. Now, will that change? Yes, because there's 20-somethings and 30-somethings that are coming here going, why can't I do this on the app? They haven't ramped up the app game to match.
Correct.
Like you said it. It's not done that way. So maybe that will change. Maybe that won't. But as far as like what they were talking about with the limiting of players and what the discussion continues to be with people that we both know, do you think, you have to profile players as a book, but that doesn't mean you have to offer crap limits.
Correct.
Right? It can be, you can survive and do both.
Correct. And that's what our limits are from bottom up is everyone gets house limits. And then you find your VIPs, those kind of ones that you can give 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x kind of thing, instead of giving them 10% of the house limit or 20% of the house limit. It's give everybody a baseline and then give the special players higher limits. It's not the reverse of give everybody a top line and then screw the others coming down. I mean, what Massachusetts is doing and what they've had sort of multiple round tables with, the first time I think it was May where the operators just shafted them and didn't turn up.
Yeah.
Then there was the second one where they were forced to turn up and all it was lawyers and nobody that actually knew how to take a bet. But it's going, I'm familiar with it because in Australia, they have these minimum bet limits on horse racing where you have to take a bet to win $2,000 on a particular horse track or dog's track and stuff like that. And then it ranges from that. I think what they're trying to do, and one of the spots where I think you should be able to do it is NFL. You should be able to take a dime bet on NFL, no matter who walks in the door or onto the app or anything like that. You should be able to take a dime bet on the top main game in an NBA game.
Or
you
close.
Should be able to, you should be able to take decent bets. Now, granted, on props and all those kind of things,
fine.
Us ourselves are usually 250 or 500. We're not looking to stick our head in that stuff. But I think if they find a middle ground on certain sports that you should be able to take a nickel or a dime and highlight those things and nobody can get less than that, then now you're doing what PASPA was for. You're trying to help regulate the unregulated business, which none of it is really happening in the US right now because everybody's, that European ilk or the set of not wanting to take a bet, not wanting to take any risk. It's like they want everything guaranteed, like they're a lottery company instead of a gambling company.
We've had probably the biggest disagreements, Dave and I, over this topic because I'm with you on that point. I believe that there should be some level of requirement that if you're going to take a bet from $1,000 from you, take $1,000 from everybody. And if you take a bet like that size, now I'm with you on the prop market, but the fact that people get limited to $50 or less on NFL sides or NFL totals or NBA sides and NBA totals because they've won too much just doesn't make any sense. Are the books?
I've never said that, by the way.
You told me
I've never said that.
You've never
Continue.
You've said that minimum bets shouldn't happen. You said
bullshit. I've never said that. You don't even listen to the show.
You've told me that books should not be required to take minimum.
Said that. You say a lot of shit.
But that's the truth. We fought over this for months. I believe there should be a minimum requirement. If you it's discrimination to take it from somebody or somebody else. On anyone.
NFL
side. Everything.
NFL side, you should take
everybody.
Yes.
On everyone, they should happen.
But you randomly go into props and all this other stuff. So go ahead, continue. Go ahead, continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
How in Massachusetts, we've talked about books potentially wanting to pull out if they're forced to disclose why they're limiting people. Will they stay in the state? Is that a fear?
There's zero chance of them. They're not pulling out of New York with 51% tax. They're not pulling out if they've got to take a dime on NFL games. They're not going anywhere. I mean, Massachusetts is a good market. They're not DraftKings, FanDuel, any of those ones. If they're willing to pay 51% New York tax, 38% and $10 million in Pennsylvania license, they're not going anywhere. They're full of shit of any kind of thing that they're threatening or whatnot. They know that they can do it. They know that they can take these kind of bets. And Massachusetts isn't going to be stupid about this. They're going to set parameters that actually make sense, that they're getting really good feedback from. I mean, they've spent a whole lot of time on this topic to try and get it right to an extent. All they got to do is put something in place, see what kind of effects it is. You know, the books always say, well, if we're forced to take these bets, that means our GGR is going to go down, which means your tax is going to down, and trying to put this fear factor. It's actually going to probably be the quite opposite. It'll draw volume, which then they're getting real bets from real players. They can trade better, and they should be able to take bigger limits from the lesser players to ultimately build a really good book and position.
Or they'll leave. I mean, like legit, Betfred's gone. You know, they've come into states in Ohio. A lot of people that were there last year are gone. A lot of companies that were in places in different states, between the tax rate being raised on them and then, well, geez, we're not really bookmakers. We're going to get exposed. It's actually going to help in that regard, where the books that survive are going to be better and the marketplace is going to be better. But
and the whole point of this is the consumers are the one they're meant to be working for here. It's the end game bettors that all these regulators are meant to be working for, not the operators. And if they do some of these things right, the bettors are going to be better off and the operators will stay.
In that state, I'm from Massachusetts, it's difficult because DraftKings is one of the biggest employers of the entire state. So I can't wait to watch and see how it plays out, because the number of people who are employed by DraftKings, if DraftKings gets really angry or they don't want to disclose the information that they're being forced to disclose, how does that work politically in the state? Because people might go, wait a minute, my job's at stake here. Because if Dave's right and DraftKings starts to drop down or not want to be as heavily involved, they'll never pull out. They're based in Massachusetts. Yeah. But there's a political factor to this as well, right? Besides just where we are, with employers or gamblers versus books, there's other fallout that may come into play with this, no?
There possibly is, and they're going to use that leverage on their side. But again, DraftKings in particular, they're not going anywhere. They'll do what's requested from the regulators, and they should lead into it. They should from now just say, if you were limited in the past, we're doing $1,000 minimums on side total money line on NFL. Come get it. Reactivate your account, re-sign up, come get it. They should own it. They're in a battle at the top right now, and FanDuel is not the FanDuel that the Americans grew up with. It's a global behemoth. So DraftKings are kind of still what they were, what their foundation was. They should lean into this and say, we're going to do this. We're going to put these minimums on. Everybody's getting it. And because then it becomes a PR game and a reputation game, and they have an opportunity here to step up and step in front. Now, maybe a Caesars will do it, or an MGM or someone like that.
Yeah, they had a hearing yesterday for 7 hours because they took credit card deposits in places they weren't supposed to. So I don't have much hope. I really don't. They need to ask people that have actually done the job and taken bets and been in books and know the legislation and can give them the answers to prevent the mistakes that's happening before it happens. But it's a whole nother discussion for another time. We got to ask you, do you want to go pro first or do you want to go college? Because you have been on fire. I mean, it's so fun to see you talking about it on Monday. Again, after you give out these things and they happen on Sunday. So you tell me, what do you want, college or pro first right now?
You can go pro. You've got your big game tonight. Let's dive straight into it.
Let's start right in that because, you know, I'm in all the trends, and trends are your friends until they're not. Then all this other stuff says that Steelers aren't going to win tonight. And, you know, Cleveland's going to upset them and they're going to score a bunch of points. The total's 36 and a half. What's it happening at the Razor Blades with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, on the side, very balanced, hell of a lot of money bet. I think the total, and Matt kind of nailed this, he's on the books side tonight from what I'm seeing. It opened 41. It went quickly down to 36. And right now, it's looking like 75% of the money is on the under. 37 is kind of where a bulk of it is. There was a little bit at 40. So points galore, please. That's the goal for tonight.
I'm on the over. I like the go over points, but you're in the area. I mean, you're not close to Cleveland, but like it's not warm up there, right? I mean, it feels like winter time, right? This is going to be a cold, wintry, mixed type of football game, right?
Yeah, with two teams that generally play a lot of their time in the winter and should be used to it, whatnot. But that's clearly why the total is where it is right now. Sitting at 37 under 36 and a half is because people have those expectations. But it's always, again, depending whether it's wind, rain, snow, the snow always leans it towards the under. The wind usually kind of helps that as well. But the rain is something that often helps the over because of the fumbles and, things like that happen in certain positions. So I guess we see what the weather's like game time and sort of lean into the over right now.
Talk a little bit about it being 3.5, because, a lot of people that like to talk about this stuff and have never either taken a bet or been in a book and wonder, why the game is 3.5 and, line movement and key numbers and all this other stuff. And you hear about that. The game's not going to 3. It's Thursday. There's no way the game's going to 3 at any point, right?
No, I mean, you go to -3, you lay it guaranteed. 3.5, you're getting tickles on the plus. But again, these are always the game. You get these two teams, the home team's +3.5, which, doesn't happen that often, is when you're getting these, the home team getting a field goal or more. So you usually as a, pro bettor, you end up on that side of it in the beginning, and then you see how the game plays out. The thing is now with live betting, you have multiple opportunities to get in this game at any point in time once you sort of see, 1, the weather, 2, how they start the game and sort of get into a flow. But yeah, right now, if you had to sort of pick one or the other at the 3.5, you sort of got to take the home dog, I think.
Adam, there's a game in the NFC East, which is somewhat historic, and it's a huge number. We've seen double-digit favorites go 5-0 recently in the NFL, and the Commanders are laying 10.5 points against the Cowboys. We haven't seen a number like this in forever for the Cowboys. 4 is really extremely rare for the Cowboys. Over the last 30 years, they've been +4 one time. They're 10.5 this weekend. Is the America's team thing going to happen here? Are you guys going to need the Commanders, or is this going to be all one-way action with Washington?
Right now, we're going to need Dallas. It's at the 10. You're getting the, behind a 9.5 and -10. Little dribbles at the +10.5. People will take it up to there. But the one thing I will say about this game, when I looked at it, I think I had more action at lunchtime playing marbles and betting in the schoolyard than what's been bet on this game.
Yes.
There is zero interest.
Yep.
There is literally zero money on the total.
Yep.
The side is, again, it's sort of 70% on the Washington, but it's not 70% that you're too concerned about. It's obviously only parents betting this game because there is no interest on this thing. When I looked at the number versus the rest of them, it's probably less than 5% sort of volume of the second lowest bet game.
That's one of those ones where, they call and say, "What's your action like on this game?" And you'd be like, "All right, I have 4 bets on it, and three of them are on Washington." So you go, "That's 75%." So 75% of the action's on Washington.
There you go. You summed it up right there.
Right. Yeah, that's it. I got 4 bets and 3 are on Washington. One of the games I think for our audience in the Midwest is Vikings at Bears. Vikings, 3rd game on the road in a row. The number's 3.5. They're favored again on the road. They've won the first 2. The Bears played one of their best games of the season last week, and they had just kick a field goal and win the game. The Packers block it, survive another week. Anyone on that game, side or total? I mean, for me, it would probably be a take. You want to take? You just said take the home team plus 3.5. Anything happening yet there?
It's very balanced, but I will say that the professional bets, and we structure our charts by looking at who we have ranked as a pro and who's a street. It's 95% of the money is on Minnesota from the pros.
Wow.
The overall book's balanced. The other thing that I notice is the total is 99% on the over. It has some decent volume too. It's all over action. We have like 10 bets on the under and probably about 80 odd on the over, but all the liquidity's on the over.
Yeah. What's your liability for the Lions right now? I mean, overall from a future Super Bowl perspective, because it sure feels like everyone thinks the Lions are going to be winding up in New Orleans. Are you guys heavy on the Lions?
No, I think we kept them fairly safe in the beginning. I did look around again, being a New Michigan local and being a Detroit fan for a while, in a sense of they remind me of the team that I grew up following, lost 4 grand finals in 6 years. And then when I really just sort of moved to Jamaica and gave up on the sport, they ended up winning like 3 and 5. But Detroit, I'd watched them for 20 years on Thanksgiving, and it just felt like they were a sad team, and they're the kind of teams I like. So overall, they're not too bad. We kind of kept them. But I hope that they make a run this year. They looked good last year, fell short, but I think those kind of towns, cities, the Buffaloes, the Detroits, they're the ones that I root for.
I love it. I mean, and our audience loves it because we got a lot of people from Detroit, and Detroit Lions fans watching this would be awesome. Misery loves company. JPC the 4th. He's right. San Francisco and Green Bay is the key game in the afternoon window. It's really interesting. Last week, the key game in the afternoon window was Buffalo and Kansas City, and the handle was gigantic. I went on, told everybody that I thought Buffalo was going to win. They ended up winning. San Francisco's playing Green Bay. Side total there. I mean, it's under a field goal, and it's a game that I think is going to do tremendous handle.
It's the first time Purdy is a regular season dog in his career. He's never gotten points in the regular season ever.
Okay, well, that one, we're definitely needing Green Bay at this point in time. It's heavy San Fran money. A few have bought it up, the 2.5, a little bit at the 3, but it's Green Bay all the way right now.
How about that? All right, to college. Everyone's buzzing today because Deion got a 5-star quarterback to commit to him today. So everyone thinks that Deion Sanders is not leaving college. He will stay at Colorado. He's not going to any other college job. He's not taking the Cowboys job. They got a big game here. One, are you guys at all heavy on Colorado futures? I mean, make the playoffs or to win the national championship? And then 2, how do you feel? What's the number coming up this weekend for Colorado here in a game that they probably should win, but there's some question marks for them?
Yeah, we're heavy on Kansas plus 3. All the Colorado money is at minus 2.5. And again, the number's usually not as significant in college as the pros, but we're heavy on Kansas at the plus 3.
I got to mention Penn State, Minnesota, just for the brand and for the team. Penn State, Minnesota, game number 155, 156, Adam. There's a lot of people talking about and bashing the Big Ten, and they will continue to do it. It's fine. And, the SEC is where it means more and blah, 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 blah. And they want to see Penn State lose. I want to see Penn State win. I don't know if they're going to cover that double-digit number. It's a big number. And the bad guys, they took the 12, didn't they?
Yeah, but right now we definitely need the underdog. The pros are 85% of the money is Penn State is pros, but overall it's sort of a balanced book. So again, right now we're needing the dog in that spot, but you can lose the game and still win it with the points when you're getting 11, 12. So
it's James Franklin's wheelhouse, though. 6 points to 24 points. The guy's a cash cow, so when he's that big of a favorite, he tends to win and cover for the alumni. He's everyone knows Franklin likes to get one for the alumni bank accounts. The other game that I'm really curious about coming up this weekend, there's a lot of people talking about where the Big Ten is, as Dave said, where the SEC is, how these games are going to go down, and who's going to be playing what. BYU has been a bet against because everyone thinks BYU is overrated, and the Big 12 is not going to get more than 2 teams in. They're dogs to Arizona State this coming weekend. Anybody taking BYU? Because I feel like the pros finally got their right call with BYU losing outright to Kansas last week. Are they still fading BYU this week?
No, we are 85% of the money's on BYU +3 and a bit at +3.5. It's all BYU. It's all one way this week on that game. ASU are pretty much friendless, but you got a few. There's a little bit of buy down to the 2.5, but BYU at +3 is where all the money's sitting right now.
Here we go.
Before we get to the Indiana-Ohio State game, the Army-Notre Dame game. There's a lot of people that want to see Notre Dame lose. They can't stand them. They've had enough of them. It's 221, 222 on the rotation number. It's a late game. It's at Yankee Stadium. A lot of people don't like football games in baseball stadiums.
Me.
I don't mind them. I think it's kind of cool. It's ridiculous. 14.5. And people think that Army has a shot if they play like in the playoff, and they would play like, I don't even know who. It would be like 30 against Alabama. It would be ridiculous.
Ohio
The spread. Yeah. Break people's hearts that are rooting for Army here, Adam. They have no shot of winning, right? Like it's a lay, right, in that game?
I hope so, because 80% of the money is on Army at the +14.5, +40. They're all over it.
Really?
I was looking at that game earlier, and it's just.
Do you have to take that call? Take that call if you need to take that call.
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay,
Kids are wanting to get picked up from school. It's okay. They can.
Oh, all right. It's freezing outside. Let them stay out there for a minute or two. Toughen them up.
Toughen them up a little bit. All right. So Indiana, Ohio State. This is the game that if all these Hoosier fans are going to try to tell everyone that they're going to go and shock the world and beat Ohio State. Any shot Indiana's doing this? Because I think they're going to get boat raced by Ohio State.
Again, hope it's a blowout. It's all the dog money. And oddly enough, they've been buying it up to 14.5. There was a decent amount at 13. It's down at 11.5 right now. And, they're still not buying the favorite. So right now looking for a couple of blowouts, it looks like, just get it over done with early, run up the score, no sweating, no late touchdown covers or anything like that. Just blow them out.
When are you putting out, the Adam Bjorn releases this week for your plays? When people are on the edge of I'm getting texts from strangers that are going, "Hey, when's that Adam guy putting out his plays?" I mean, you realize how much money we could charge for this stuff right now? You're on fire.
Yeah.
8 weeks in a row.
I've had a few people hit me up on when this is free. We're here to give. We're givers.
Good job.
At 4:01 Eastern, 4:01 Pacific, 7:01 Eastern is when we try and put it out right after the circa closes their entries. So we have the numbers and we go into all the details on the Survivor and the Millions. That's it. We'll be there again Saturday and see what we can deliver.
Love it.
8 weeks in a row, 1 or 2 winners every single week, 1-0 or 2-0 for 8 straight weeks, correct?
Yeah. And I threw up right before the women's fight, put up the underdog Taylor on that at +220 on X. And, she didn't win the fight, but she got paid. They paid the tickets at the counter. So it counts as a winner. But yeah, it's you know, and for those that saw it, dropping the 2 bags at the airport to land on 100 pounds was just the epitome of all of it. So it was.
When you're hot, you're hot. It's a good heater. Adam, thank you for the time. Stay warm in Michigan. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you next week. All right.
Thanks, guys.
That is Adam Bjorn from Prime on a Prime Thursday here on the Bostonian versus the Book. It's real. I mean, those are legitimate numbers. He has been red hot making picks and plays, and they've been crushing it with that podcast that he does.
It's great.
I mean, it's a good run to be on. I mean, my God, 8 in a row, 8 weeks in a row, 1-0 or 2-0.
Yeah,
incredible. Not bad at all.
Yep.
On that. Okay, so we got a bunch of things to get to. What happened last night? Oh, I got to change that. Hold on.
Oh, looks great. Leave it just like that.
Okay, you like that? Okay, well,
looks good.
It's because the when we're doing interviews, it's so thick. So I've dropped it down so it's less cutting.
Looks fine.
You and I now. So now it's a different font that we're using for this. Okay, to baseball here. On the third time ever that both the American League and Cy Young, the AL NL Cy Youngs were lefties, as Skubal and Sale each win their first Cy Young award last night. That was probably the most anticlimactic, right? From a bet perspective, this was done in July. Both these guys were going to win the Cy Youngs, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, riding the wave of Skeens where he got down the odds, but he wasn't going to win. Those numbers that Sale had were just unbeatable. And then Skubal was done. Skubal was done in July.
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, like at the All-Star break, it was like only how much is he going to win by?
Mm-hmm.
And then the debate became if he was going to get traded at the trade deadline at the end of July, which do you award a guy who's no longer in the American League Cy Young? But he stayed in the American League. He pitched the Tigers down the stretch to the playoffs, and that was easy.
I'm going to be very curious to see what the Tigers do in the offseason because and we'll get to the Soto stuff later, but once some of the higher end, the Blake Snells of the world, once those big ticket free agents are now done, and the Tigers aren't going to be involved in those types of markets, but who are they going to add? Because the hunger now for Tiger fans it's real. And you've got a guy in Skubal who's a Cy Young Award winner, foundation building block type of guy. And all those no-name players that played so well down their stretch for the Tigers, what do they do with their roster? Do they spend? Do they add talent to go and contend and say, okay, we're actually going to try to make a real run of it rather than just get lightning in a bottle and get hot in August and September?
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean,
I hope they spend. I mean, I hope they go in because look, the division's tough. Royals aren't going to be going anywhere. You're going to have to deal with the Guardians. So
but you have to spend responsibly. If you spend and the guys get hurt, you can't do anything about that. Mm-hmm. When the Angels tried it, they had all the pieces and they didn't have the pitching. Mm-hmm. They spent, they went and got guys. I mean, it's happened for other teams where they spent and got guys and it didn't work out. I think the Tigers are close because they have the pitching, at least the ace. They get another one. Yeah, the bullpen's been awesome. I don't know. I don't know if they have to spend and go get. They're not going to get. They're going to get Juan Soto, are they?
No. But I mean, there's nobody of the high end, top level talent that the Tigers will add. But just how to be responsible, like you mentioned. But how do you add players? How do you add talent? The back end of the rotation, obviously, is a question. They had 2 good pitchers, and that's about it. And then what do you do with the lineup? They need a couple of bats. They need some pop, as we learned in the playoffs. So let's see what they can do offensively if they can grab hold of a couple of guys who can help them. Because they're one of those teams that, much like the Lions, there's a big resurgence going on in Detroit right now. Red Wings aren't that good, but the Lions are one of the best, if not the best team in football. The Tigers were an unbelievable story. So you've got some people who really want to go to the ballpark and watch games and be a part of the ride. So you got to capitalize on that. Yeah. So many teams don't. So many teams just go it was good.
I mean, or you be like the Marlins and you capitalize it on 1 year and then you blow it up the next, and then you go 12 years again before you even entertain being good. You're literally the bottom. So I don't know. It's both extremes, but the ride up is fun. The guy like Scoop.
F1 confirmed this morning they will return to Las Vegas in 2025. How are we feeling about the return? Awesome?
Oh, yeah. I don't have to go down there. If I had to go down there, I probably wouldn't feel the same way. But, keep bringing people here. Keep bringing a spot like the Vegas. I don't know. Did you see the video the CBW sent us in the Twitter, like the night, or maybe it was JC from KC. I don't know. It was in my feed. I was very busy this morning, so I literally just saw it before I went on. But the track looks amazing. The
The day of. I mean, there's no debating. The day of the event, the actual 24 hours that the event is taking place in Las Vegas is tremendous. The television coverage is tremendous. Hopefully there's not a manhole cover problem like there was last year. Hopefully they got all those things taken care of so we don't deal with that again. Corbin, they did sign to 2023, but there was a lot of people pushing for them to go away after this year because it's way down. I mean,
so that looks smaller when you put when you put that up. Okay, so that looks smaller. So you can't really read that.
Yeah,
that's right. That's fine.
That's simple. We can just go back to the classic. It's really easy to do that.
Okay. So it's a 10-year deal,
but they want him out. I mean, people want him out. F1 people. I mean, the FF1 thing is real. There's people in city council who want them gone. The ticket sales. We'll see what the tax revenue is at the end of the year because we saw it last year where the Bellagio, Wynn, Encore, probably Fontainebleau now, they all reported record nights, like insane amounts of money being bet at the tables, insane tips coming down to the players. But that wasn't felt everywhere. Like if you want to stay tonight at the Wynn, it's $1,500 to stay tonight. So like everything is extremely expensive on the luxury level. So, and that's the race is this weekend. Today is Thursday. So Thursday night, it's $1,500. What's Saturday night going to be? Saturday night, it's going to be even more. So those properties made a ton of money, but we're a third ticket sales wise. So, and they're paying all the influencers here in Vegas, all got a check yesterday morning because in unison, they have all gone and now said ticket sales are thriving. Ticket sales are going crazy. All the luxury boxes are filled. Like it's amazing how you can buy press today, how you can buy the message you want put out. You can just buy it because that's Sonic
been the case for years.
Yeah, but it's different now with the influencer world because they don't work for anybody but themselves. Like there was always, you had a boss, you worked for a company. So you would pay an editorial person, but there was some boss that had to okay you to write that. These people work for themselves because Rovell put this out that there were no Uber waiting people at all yesterday. Like it was dead at Uber, at the Uber on Terminal 1, which is always crazy. And there was nobody there.
Was he here?
I don't know if he was here, but he's the one that put it out there. He said, this should normally be completely crazy. And it's not. Oh, Corbin said, I've only sold 2 F1 hats. I've only been in my own store for like 3 shifts this month, though. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, the track looks gorgeous. The overhead shots are cool. It's a very unique visual thing. And it'll be great this weekend when it happens. But they said they're coming back this week, and people are like, fine. Okay. We'll deal with it.
Again, it's not for the locals.
But it screws the locals' lives up.
Yeah. That's part of living here.
Right.
It's been happening for decades.
But those people vote. People who live here vote. People who don't live here don't vote. So the politicians have to deal with the fallout of the whole thing.
Yeah, well.
So if they're not making money, it doesn't benefit them.
Somebody's making money.
Well, upper end casinos are making money. Yeah, but the Flamingo's not. Like people who are working at the Rio.
People that okayed the deal are making money.
Fine. Yes.
You know,
and they'll get their fun night on Saturday night. They'll get the hobnob with all the rich celebrity people. And yeah, those people are all coming in. I mean, there's no debating it. I mean, we're going to see the richest of the rich people in the world
that are making money that okayed this deal.
Right. And they get to be wined and dined, and they get to be, F1 knows what they're doing. They'll have a fun Saturday night. All the local people who okayed the deal will have a blast on Saturday night.
Practice today? It's Thursday or is it tomorrow?
Overnight.
Oh, no.
I think.
So practice is tonight.
Right. Overnight tonight.
Qualifying is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, overnight. And then the race Saturday night.
Saturday.
Yeah. And it's going to warm up. Luckily for them, Saturday night's going to be a lot warmer than this morning. It was 39 degrees this morning.
It's cold this morning.
That is not good for that's not good for rubber. That's not good. That's not good.
Pause.
So not good. So there you go with that.
Right.
So it will be, I think the low temperature is expected to be 60 for the race, which is perfect. No, at night, the low overnight. It's like in the upper 50s, lower 60s. It's going to be nice. During the day, it's supposed to be nice. The weather's supposed to be.
Yeah. So the forecast for Friday is high 65, low 42.
Yeah, that's cold.
And Saturday, high 67, low 44.
Oh, that's colder than that's colder than I thought. I thought it was gonna be the 50s. Low of 44.
I mean, the low today was 39 this morning, and tomorrow morning it's going to be 42. I mean, when the sun goes down, it drops quick. Like, we're in the desert, and people don't understand. If you've never been here, a lot of people found out when they came out for the Super Bowl.
Right.
There was freaking snow all around the valley, all in the mountains and stuff. It was cold. It rained. Man. It was nasty. It's not going to be like that. There's no precipitation.
But a cold tire is slick. Like, they're going to have to warm the tires up really well to get those cars up to speed. That's going to be really interesting to watch, to see if there's going to be coming around corners. We're going to have accidents more than normal.
I think it was that last year, right? It was close to that cold last year. Pretty sure.
In the 40s? Really? I don't remember it being I don't remember it being in the 40s. That's cold. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be wild. All right. I asked this question on Twitter because it really, NBA viewership, a report came out last night that we're down 18%. The league, the NBA, is the most followed on social media across all platforms, way more than the NFL. The NBA is all about social media. So I asked people, where do they watch the NBA? And it's pretty much 33% live, 33% on social, and 33% other on this. The latest star to go down, unfortunately, Luka is going to be out for at least a week, if not more. And there are a lot of people who are saying the NBA's got a problem with missing stars. That we're seeing numerous star players, Joel Embiid being the latest example of guys not showing up and not playing and not being a part of it. How significant is this in your mind with the NBA if people aren't going to watch the games live? Because this is the one thing they've got to do. This is where they make all their money, is on their live broadcasts.
They're just realizing now they have a problem. We've been talking about this for years.
But they're not playing. But we've not seen the viewership has not gone down like this. That's the difference.
It's hard when just again, watch the way the kids watch anything.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to watch anything and be committed to watching it for 2 hours is almost impossible. People don't watch games like they used to at all, especially. I mean, Trista said it on Tuesday. I thought it was really interesting when she said it. It's boring watching guys shoot threes over and over and over. The game itself is not what it was, and it's not – betting isn't going to carry it. I mean, no matter what anybody says, betting's not going to carry it. The stars have to play. I can't remember. I love to watch Kawhi Leonard play. I can't remember the last time he played.
Fair. I mean, this is just our chat, but it gives you an example. Garbage product, zero competition. I love the NBA. Best sport in America. I mean, there's a large discrepancy between people who are watching and loving the NBA and those who have tried to watch the NBA and have said, it's not the sport I remember. It's not the sport that I love. It's not the sport that when I turned on the TV, I want to watch the star player from my team. And there's probably a 50% chance that guy's not going to play on the game that I turn on because I don't know who's playing and I don't know when they're out or where they're in. So that I think the star power problem, the injury question, all those things, it's not fixable by just a snap of the finger. You can't tell someone to play. You can't say, hey, you need to play. Like, you have to play. If you don't want to play, then you don't want to play. But the NBA is so popular on social media because of the clips. But like what Trista said and what you just said, and she said it during the interview, everyone loves to watch Ant go, and she called it yamming on somebody, to go ahead and, go up, over and posterize somebody. But those things aren't happening as much anymore. Like watching a guy stand in the corner and hit threes all night, like Steph made it cool, but so many players who are obsessing over the 3-point shot, it's not exciting. I mean, it's cool to see a logo 3, but that gets boring after a while. It's not basketball. It's a shooting contest.
And I don't know, like when we talk about the NFL, there's a generation of people growing up watching the NFL only watching the red zone.
Good point.
They don't watch it. They don't watch the game.
Right.
And they don't. If there's no scoring, it's boring. It's like, wait a second. Like tonight's game is going to be
boring.
It's not going to be a like it was 2 Thursdays ago when the Ravens played the Bengals.
35-34. No.
And all this stuff.
No,
like, we're going to see scoring. I'm leaning over as well.
Yeah.
But you can watch a football game like the Ravens and the Steelers last week. The Steelers didn't score a touchdown. It was 18-16.
It was fun. Good game.
I thought it was a good game to watch.
Yeah, good game. It was a fun game.
Can you watch a basketball game that's a good defensive game?
Yes, if the game is played at a high elite level. Yes, if you're watching teams that play like the Magic right now, or no one's watching them, but you should watch the Magic. They're fun to watch. They play team defense. They rebound the basketball really well, and they're buying into a system because their best player is out. But people aren't gravitating towards the Orlando Magic. They're not like, oh, I want to watch that team. They can barely name 2 guys on the roster. So I think the
like
NBA,
the Orlando Magic back in the day when they had Shaq and Penny
were the thing. Yeah.
I mean, we went on spring break and we were staying in Tampa, and I looked at the schedule and said, the Magic are playing. Who wants to get in a car and go?
Oh,
I just wanted to go to a game,
right,
and see them play in person. And of course, I got a hat. I think I did get a hat.
And this is a decent point too. College basketball is a totally different sport. In much like we spent a lot of time on this time talking about the college football product versus the NFL football product, and how much more enjoyable you and I have had this fall watching college over the NFL. The same thing can be said for college basketball. I mean, every night when I'm looking at games to bet for the Daily Juice, I open up the college schedule first. I don't open up the NBA schedule first. I open the college schedule first. I go and scale and scroll and see who's playing who, what line move happened, what game is where. And like right now, there's games going on right now during the show. Like for the next today, tomorrow, and then next Monday and Tuesday when we're on, there's going to be all college basketball games all day long, like during the day that you can watch because all these tournaments are on the globe are being played. That's fun because you get maximum effort. And everybody on that roster is playing. There's no questions in college.
Those are 2 facts. I mean, you can't even dispute.
No, I know I'm getting every kid on that. When a kid comes off the bench to come in to play, he's not moping. He's not mad. He's not sad about playing time. He gets to go play a college basketball game. He's going to go and break his back to be as good of an athlete and a player as he can be and as good a teammate as he can be. Now, it's not universal like that, but for the most part, I know when I watch a college game like Drake was playing this afternoon, when I'm watching Drake basketball, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting 100% effort. They may lose the game, but no one's moping around. No one's jacking shots from crazy areas and going to the coach. What are you going to do? I'm making $10 million a year.
I think it's two different audiences. There's not a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people love basketball, yes, but there are people that are NBA people only too. They'll never watch college basketball.
I would agree. And
it's not for them.
It depends on the city you grow up near. I think a lot of it, for me, college basketball wasn't a thing until John Calipari came around my sophomore year in high school. When John Calipari became big, UMass basketball became big, I started watching college basketball. Up to that point, I couldn't tell you one college team. I had no idea. I watched NBA basketball exclusively. It was Bird. It was Magic. It was Michael.
You didn't even watch Big East basketball as a kid?
Not until UMass became a thing. No. My sophomore year in high school, when UMass basketball became a thing, I started watching everything. I started learning about Syracuse and Georgetown. I started learning about Villanova. I started learning about all those teams. I didn't know what the Big Five was until my sophomore year of high school. Okay. And then I started to learn all about it. And it was like, oh, this is cool. And then UMass and Temple became a huge rivalry. And so Philadelphia and Boston became, from a college basketball standpoint, was big. The Fab Five became a thing when I was in high school. And it was like, oh, okay. And then everyone started wearing the shorts. You start wearing the black socks. Everyone started to mimic all of it. Yes, that was Marcus Camby. Yeah. Marcus Camby was my freshman year in 1996 at UMass. But I went to UMass because of John Calipari and what UMass basketball had turned into. He won 5 straight regular season and 5 straight A-10 tournament titles, ultimately to the Final Four in 96, where they lost to Kentucky and Rick Pitino. But that set me on a path for being a college basketball nut because I saw it. I saw how fun it was, and they won. it's awesome when your team is winning. So my dad went to UMass, so I followed, went to the same school my dad went to.
My buddy Rob, he's watching the show. He texted me. He said, Edgar Padilla and Marcus Travioso.
Not Marcus Travioso. Edgar Padilla and Carlos Travioso.
Carlos. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we remember it like.
Yeah. Lou Rowe.
Yeah.
Dana Dingle.
Oh my goodness.
These are all these are all kids that were, right. I told this story for years, but UMass basketball players all drove brand new red Jeep Cherokees. All of them. They were all, so you knew when you saw them pull on campus, you knew who it was. And so I lived in Southwest, which was the living area where all the athletes lived in my freshman year. And 96, UMass goes to the Final Four. They lose to Kentucky. And I've never seen a riot before in my life, but my living area rioted. People were throwing couches off the top of 26 and 28 story high buildings out the window.
Kids were not advocating that.
Oh God, no. It was great. It was awful. The police helicopters, they broke it up with, there were 20 state troopers on Clydesdales to break. Oh, it was crazy. A kid got whipped with, he got put in the hospital because someone snapped off back in the day, kids, we had antennas on cars, and somebody snapped off the antenna and like whipped a kid really bad, and they'd like huge manhunt for the kid, and like it was really serious stuff that happened during that riot. It was bad, but that's always, for me, I always harken back to that of like the college basketball experience. And look, I like going to NBA games. I do. There is nothing like a college basketball game. There's nothing like it. It's way, way better.
The rivalry games, the conference games, they're so much fun. When I went to see Kylie last year play softball, and specifically looked at the schedule because she was done and going back to Jersey. And I'm like, Duke is playing Clemson and North Carolina is playing NC State. I'm going to one of those two games.
Oh, that's right. You went to the Carolina game.
I went to the Carolina State game, like North NC State game. It was fantastic. It was great. Just from I wouldn't have gone to see the Hornets play. There's no chance. There's no one that would have been playing to me to go, you know what? I'm going to go watch the Hornets play the Bucks.
Do you mean UMass today, Jimmy, or in my life? I broadcasted about 40 UMass basketball games in my career. I went to UMass, so I was there. I was there for 4 years. So my junior and senior year, that was Bruiser Flint's takeover of Calipari and the slow destruction of the basketball program by Bruiser Flint, as he was. I learned a lot about the lieutenant taking over for the captain and how the lieutenant oftentimes is not like the captain, and just because continuity, right? Keep the same guy. Didn't go well for Bruiser, and he bounced around. And I've seen Bruiser for years, and Derek Kellogg was a point guard for Calipari during that run when I was in high school. Derek Kellogg is now on the bench for Coach McDermott at Creighton. So it's a lot of fun for me to talk to Derek Kellogg. He's a year older than me, so he's a year ahead of me in school, and now he's on Coach Mac's bench. So they're coming to Vegas next week. So it's always fun to kibitz and go back and forth with them, saying, what's going on for UMass/Creighton tie for me. But I love Frank Martin, and I hope UMass does great things with Frank Martin because he's a phenomenal coach. I'm trying to get him on the show, trying to talk to UMass and the SID department, saying like, hey, can we get Coach on the show? Because I think the brigade would love the guy. If you don't know much about Frank Martin, he's a walking quote. So he's a really
I have two sound bites of his in my bookmarks.
Really?
I love the guy.
So
talks about coaching his kids and what he does and all this. It's fantastic. He's one of the most real person I've ever not met that I follow and watch, and can't wait for him to see what he says.
I hope we grab him. I hope he does have success at UMass and put them back on the map. He's got a pretty tough road to go through with that, but it's just like today, Drake beat Miami today. They were 10-point dogs, won the game by 11 points. Like, it's just fun. You can take a
I feel like that can happen a lot more in college basketball. Like, I mean, the other night, OKC lost is a big favorite
to Spurs.
It just doesn't happen nearly as much as I think that's part of the problem with the viewership. Like, what you're going to get in the regular season. And if the players don't care about the regular season, how do you expect the viewers to care about the regular season?
It's a good point. I mean, our guy, Steve Lutz, who is now the new head coach of Oklahoma State, who came on BVB last year during the tournament, He's now taking on Florida Atlantic right now, that in the Shriners Children's Charleston Classic. He's up by 5. They're 3-0 on the year. In his first tenure with the Cowboys, up by 5 on FAU. They're 3-2 on the year. So, we got friends in the program that we're going to keep track of in college basketball this year to see how they're going to do. And we'll watch Okie State. We'll watch Creighton, obviously. We'll watch UMass. We'll see how these teams are going to go. Penn State, West Virginia, see how D-Rock does. And I'm sure we'll talk to B-How throughout the year about how West Virginia is going to do if they get hot in the Big 12 and what they look like. So, we're just starting the college basketball world, but I think that's a huge problem for the NBA in my mind, that you're right. We don't see the marquee circle games. They're like, oh, I want to watch that team against that team. Like we circled it for the Celtics and the Cavaliers because the Cavs are 15-0.
Right.
There was something to watch. There was a reason to watch.
For sure.
On a night in and night out basis, we don't get that very often. Like tonight, there's nothing tonight that makes me go, there's 4 games, right? There's nothing tonight that makes me go, I'm going to stop watching football to watch the NBA. Come on. Not even close.
No, there's multiple hockey games that I'd rather watch than any of the NBA games tonight. And
Sharpie. There's like me and you. We're the only 2 people on the planet, right, or on this show that understand what that means, Sharpie. Roll damn J's.
Right.
Yeah, Creighton people in the chat. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys doing that. All right. We talked about this a little bit with.
Wait, let's go real quick. Detroit, Charlotte, Minnesota, Toronto, Utah, San Antonio, and Orlando and the Lakers.
Yay.
That's the 4 games tonight. Lakers -4.5. That's
Bet the under Magic Lakers.
San Antonio -3, Detroit -2 at Charlotte. And D Weezy, I did not kill the Charlotte sponsorship. If the Hornets want to sponsor the show, we're in.
Okay.
Minnesota, Toronto is 8 or 7.5. I mean, I guess competitive, but like you're right. It's Thursday night. We've already got other things to watch.
There will be more
if you
interest
were today, handle today, and that it's nothing.
Georgia Tech versus NC State will have more interest across the country.
In places.
Getting across the country, just in general, just across the country, college football against an NBA opponent. It just doesn't even like.
I mean, Orlando and the Lakers might end up with handle tonight because it's after the football game.
It's late, right?
7:45.
In Dalton Connect props, everybody will bet the over on his threes because
he
hit 9. So you'll see that tonight. But I don't know. All right, we talked about it with Adam a little bit, but Mass Gaming is going to ask the books for more information on players when they choose to limit them.
I can't wait if this goes somewhere where you have an account and they start poking around your information.
Mine? Me personally?
Well,
sure. Go ahead.
General.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
They're gonna do
Sure.
affordability checks and all the stuff that's going on across the pond. When they get intrusive in players, they're going to lose players.
Who? I guess I'll phrase the question: who's being intrusive? The books to the player, or the state to the book?
The state to the book. The state wants to know who the players are,
right?
So the anonymity's gone.
Well, they want to know what they want to know what they're telling the player when the player is limited.
Well, no, they're using that as a reason to have the discussion. Yes. I mean, I hope they make the books tell someone why they're limited.
Right. Which I think is right. So I mean,
they want to know everything.
Are you slippery
about the
slope?
player.
Are you saying it's a slippery slope that this is not actually what they're after? They're after something more nefarious than just.
No. They're after what they're after, but they're gonna say, yeah. Well, wait. What is Matt Peralt's income?
Okay.
Why is he limited? He has the money.
But why does the income matter on the limiting? If I'm already limited,
because you're a VIP. If you're a VIP, they want to know.
But how can I be both? How can I be a VIP and be limited?
Well, because
how can I have both on that?
You can 100%. You have to, because a VIP presents itself as a loser. Rufus just got limited at DraftKings.
Okay.
His account is no longer limited because he was disguising how to bet, and betting things that would profile him as a
parlays and things that would make him look not like a sharp bettor.
Bet the hometown teams. I mean, the ability for people nowadays to say what's going on openly, they're going to be sorry what they find out. And it's not going to help the business. If the goal of the business was to take bets again and book the bets, and I never once said ever in the history of my life that no one should take $1,000 on an NFL game. If you can't take $1,000 on an NFL game, you need to close.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when they get 1,000 people in a Discord and figure out that you can annihilate a book on a limit of $250 on a prop bet, as a business, your grandfather wouldn't have done it.
Right.
No bookie that I know would ever agree to that. And so it's my business. So when the state comes in and tells me you can't limit people.
Yes.
Okay. I can't limit people on what?
On everything.
Everything is not everything, Matt.
Well, it is to me. My point is everything is everything. I think
okay. So again, in your naivety, it's not the same.
If you take a bet
on an NFL side is one thing. A bet on an NFL or an NBA prop is something else. I've said this before to you. I take the approach of election betting with radio stations. If I took an ad at $500 as my minimum, as the cheapest ad I sold, every politician has a right to come in and buy for $500. I have to keep my rate integrity high because when it comes to political buys, they get to look at my books and they see the cheapest rate that I sold on afternoon drive, and they get to purchase at that rate through FCC laws. Yeah. So I feel the same way when it comes to betting. If XYZ player comes in and gets $500 on a side or $500 on a prop or $1,000 on a side, everyone gets that. No one can be limited. If you take that bet from one person, you take it from everyone. So if it's $1,000 bet on the NFL, great. If it's $250 on a prop, great. Whatever the money is, whatever the amount of money you took from somebody, everyone gets access to that same price. Okay, but it's not the same product. It's not just an ad. Because no, but the pricing structure is the same. If you take it from you, you take it from me. Same. Right, but if you beat me to that number and what's the amount? And I move it's not the money. If it's $250, if you beat me to that number and I move it, are you going to be okay with that? Yes, because now one guy gets to $250. I'm not talking about the number. I'm talking about the price. I'm talking about how much money you're taking from a monetary standpoint. So if you get 2.5 and I get 3, I don't care about that. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the number. I'm talking about if you get 2.5 at $250, I get 3 at $250. Same price, same amount of money. Of course. But that's not what happens. If I'm a loser and you're a winner, you're getting 100. I'm getting whatever I want. I'm getting 500. I get 1,000. I'll get 2,000. They're more afraid of you than me. They want my losing money. They want to keep you limited. Well, yeah, but that's just theft. Well, that's what they do. That's not booking the games. That's not right. That's what Mass is trying to tell them, that if you do that, you XYZ player, Dave, I'm the book. I have to tell you why I'm doing it, which is not the law right now anywhere in the country. Mass is trying to make it so the book is required to say, Dave, we flagged you because you are a smart gambler. And there has to be a recourse to that. You have to be able to say, well, wait a minute, why? And then the books have to open up, how many players are they doing this to? How often are they doing it? And people in our chat will say this all the time. They're not sharp or VIPs, but they've all been limited. They get limited all the time because they make a parlay that doesn't look right. It's correlated in some way. So that's the problem with all that. That's what Mass is trying to do, at least trying to give the public some recourse to understand what the books are doing. And the books just, I mean, I read it today. I read the transcript. It feels like it's kicking down the can again. They're just kicking it down the road. Like they're not doing anything at the moment. I think it's a lot of whole saber rattling. I don't think Mass is going to do much. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think they're going to do much. If you pay attention to what's going on in other places, and Adam can speak for what went on in Australia. Right. It's not better. I mean, he's over here now doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. What's going on in England? I posted a thing 2 days ago on my Twitter from a guy named Luke, who I've never met, who worked in a book, and now he's on the other side of the counter. And it's a complete, utter, sorry, Will, shit show as far as trying to get a bet because of the regulations that they made it very easy for the books to say, okay, you want us to do it this way? We'll do it this way. But now they went too far. And if you go to deposit more than like £1,000 or whatever it is, the rectal exam that you have to go through
that's
to get the money is you're going to say, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Right. And it drives you offshore. It just drives you to the black market.
If you want to bet, you'll find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And there will be someone willing to take it. And it's going to, David was on this week. It was a great interview. He talked to a lot of people. Wrote a really good article. It's in Rolling Stone. If you missed the show on Monday, go watch that interview and then go read his article, because he talked to a lot of people that are trying to get this done. I just caution what they're getting done, because it's not going to make it better. The books are going to react and say, like, look, it's our business. We're taking all the risk. So if you want this, we're going to ask the players for everything that you want. Now, there's VIPs that are playing $30,000 a game because they make $3 million a year. They're going to ask, why are they playing this? And why are you giving them more? Well, because that's what their unit size is. That's what they want to play. That's why there's high limit pits in a casino.
Right. But if I walk into a high limit pit, and you've said this before, I can be thrown out of a high limit pit if I'm betting too much, if I'm winning too much. They can ask me to leave and not take my action. And that is something the books are doing sometimes, but oftentimes they're taking the guy who's betting $400 and making it $4. They're not taking just the high limit guys. They're limiting people who are just playing like David talked about, because he did a first half parlay and he said he got limited for it.
Yeah, that'd have to be. I mean, that's just a software issue. Like there's people that are doing things with software that are making people to be doing something that they're not.
I received an email saying I was limited. No reason given. Like, it's just like there needs to be some recourse.
If they're given a reason, would that make them feel better?
No, because I think the reason would then the reason why the books don't give you a reason is because once you give a reason, then there has to be a recourse to fight said reason. The books don't want to do that. There has to be a process where
you speak in going to another book.
Well, that's fine. That's true.
You speak.
But legally,
as a consumer, if someone doesn't want your business, you go to another business.
Correct. But if you're told, like, this is what I talk about with discrimination. Like if you're told you win too much, you're no longer welcome to play here anymore. That's really bad PR. That's ugly for the books.
So that's every day.
Correct. But they don't want it to be actual on their letterhead. The DraftKings writes or BetMGM writes or FanDuel writes and says,
they don't care. They go on investor calls and say this. They don't care.
Well, no, they say we're not for the professionals. We're an entertainment book. Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
How can you say that?
Because people in the public don't hear it. It's on Twitter. People it's a small corner of the internet that actually listens and reads this stuff and puts the stuff out.
And say it.
But the investors want them to say that, because investors want them to take money from people, not lose. Investors want them to win. I mean, you said it. Vegas books have only lost one time in the last, 30 months, you said, or 30 years?
Yeah, I had a losing month.
Once. So that's an investable product. That's a steady return on your investment every step of the way, where the volatility of sports betting scares people. And if the only thing you have is not brick and mortar, not casinos, not hotels, not restaurants, not shows, all you have is your sports betting product, you can't lose. You have to win every month.
Yeah, but that's not sports betting. There's going to be times you're going to lose.
Right.
Like, I mean, it happens.
So the kiosk thing, you brought it up. The kiosk thing is also pretty interesting, because the study said that it offers little to no economic upside to Massachusetts sports books, more negatives than positives to have kiosks in your book.
Oh, 100%.
Does anybody listen to this? Does any book listen to that?
There's a lot of vested interest on both sides.
Because the Suncoast has 3 windows. It's brand spanking new, and they've got 6 kiosk pots of 4 on every one. And there's 6 of them. There's 24 kiosks right in front of the window. and there's 3 windows and 24 kiosks for people to go ahead and utilize. And they're not in a row. They're using space. So they're basically like an X format. So there's 4 on either side, on all sides.
And that's brand new. It's easier for surveillance to see them like that.
Oh, interesting. It's good use of space too. Well, I thought there's a camera in the kiosk.
There is.
Oh, okay. But up top too? So interesting.
I mean, there's guys that wear hats,
yep,
to go and do kiosk work stuff. There's so many ways to do these things. Does anybody listen? No, it saves the book money.
Because kiosks of the hourly
don't call in sick.
Right. Kiosks are always open.
Don't ever call in sick. All we got to do is make sure the paper's filled and make sure that the money gets emptied. But the problem, what I heard them saying, was at least the guy that did the study found that it's very costly to run because you have to, every time you move something in a casino, you have to tell gaming.
Oh,
you can't just pick up and move a kiosk.
Okay.
We saw it when we went to Resorts World. Them getting that kiosk in there, it's a big deal. It's 8 meetings. It's listen, we're moving this. Surveillance has to see us move it.
Yeah.
Because if you move a kiosk and you don't tell anybody, you could empty the kiosk and not tell anybody.
Right.
There could be money in there.
Right.
And I'm just saying allegedly, there was a thing that went on in town with some people in the company that we're both familiar with. It was a kiosk problem. Not people betting it or, as noted in the industry, jamming the kiosks, but it's a way for people to bet as well that don't want a hassle. You go to a kiosk. You heard Adams describe it. When he goes to kiosk in Michigan, he goes to kiosk, bets, and leaves. Takes the ticket with him. And done.
And he said, I don't want my money. He said, I wouldn't want my own money.
Well, if you don't monitor them,
right,
which the books are like, yeah, just put the kiosks in. They make money. They this, they that. No. The razor blades are looking to cut you up in the kiosks. Pay attention. So what's the answer? $100. That's all you can bet in a kiosk. On a bet.
Right. The maximum. Yeah. I mean, this kiosk, you're right to juice. There's kiosks at sporting arenas and ballparks, but it's the study that came out that stated it was commissioned by, as Dave said, Spectrum Sports, by the Mass Gaming Association, wanted to see whether or not kiosks were a net positive or a net negative for books in Massachusetts to have. And the report came back and said there's more negatives than positives. These are not, it's not good to have a kiosk. Now, does that do anything?
About putting them in a VFW, and putting them in bars. I mean, there's one at the Buffalo Wild Wings. I've never seen anybody use it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm there a lot.
What book is it?
I don't even know. I don't even know if it's still there. It's in the bar. Yeah. I have to go check.
Wow. There's a kiosk for a sports book in a Buffalo Wild Wings in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. They were all over.
Well, I knew BW3 signed a contract with the sports book. I forget which book it was, but I thought Nevada was going to be. I think it is MGM. I thought Nevada was left out of it. Oh, you know why? Because MGM and Nevada came together. The BetMGM is now Universal. That's why it's there. Because remember, BetMGM wasn't the same as BetMGM Nevada, and BetMGM outside of Nevada were different, and now they're the same.
I don't know. I mean, they pay for the odds on the screens.
Yep.
Like you see the odds on the screen.
The advertising, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I have to see if that kiosk is still there. You know why it wasn't? One, it never worked. Like you have to drive around and service all these kiosks. Like there's a Caesars one at the grocery store at the Smiths by my house.
Yeah,
I've used it to load up the account at times. Like they're all over the place.
I love those too. In but not out. Put all the money you want in, get no money out.
Correct.
I love that one way.
You got to go to a book and
great.
get paid.
I use a piss. I made that mistake trying to go cash a ticket one time, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I can put money in. I can take money out." They're like, "No, it's one way. It's in, not out." I was like, "That's baloney."
They can't leave money in those machines. They get robbed.
Right. Stinks.
Terrible.
Tonight, Steelers laying 3.5 to the Browns on the road. Total is 36 or 36.5. Weather tonight is going to be gross, but again, we don't care about wet, guys. Like this is our first real conversation about all this. We don't care about wet. We don't bet wet. We don't bet wet. Pause. We only bet wind. That's all we do. We only bet the wind, not the wet. It's going to be a mess in Cleveland tonight, according to Kevin Roth, who you don't follow Kevin Roth this time of the year. You should. He's great. He works for Roto Grinders. He puts out great things as to what's going to happen. Wind-wise, better shape. This hourly wind chart shows winds that don't really pick up until overnight, 10 to 15 mile per hour, gusts up to 20 miles per hour. That's not that big of a deal. Should not be that big of a deal for the kickers or passing of the football here tonight for this game. I think your team, there's a decent shot. I'm not same game teasing this because there's a decent shot. You guys hang 30 on them tonight.
I hope so.
There's a shot that you blow the living daylights out of them. Like everyone's on the Browns, and I get why. And it's like the Browns are going to win this game, or they're going to lose by 20. Like there's no in between to me in this. Like this is not a tight football game where the Steelers have to do what they did last week, where they or against Washington and they rally and come from behind and they win the game. I don't see that happening. The Browns defense is bad. Like it is not good. And Russ has found Pickens, and he's found this rhythm that you guys can't run the ball. I don't know who the hell your offense is. You can't run the ball to save your life, but you can throw on everybody. And I think you'll throw on the Browns tonight. And unless they can score on your defense, which has not been easy to do with touchdowns, this could be a 30-10 win for the Steelers.
Oh, I hope you're right. I think the Steelers win the game, but you got me at we bet wet. I don't even know what to say. That was
Steelers have never won a road divisional game on Thursday Night Football in their history. 0-7 straight up. Tomlin's 0-5.
Yep.
You're 2-8. He's 2-8 on Thursday, just in general on Thursday nights. Not divisional, just on the road Thursday nights, 2-8.
Man, oh man. I don't know. This will be one that, the pros. I mean, one snap Bonvi's in the chat saying a sharp guy met in Pittsburgh. He left the H off. Bonvi, you're an honorary member now of the Pittsburgh people. You can't leave the H off. Who's a Steeler nut is telling me Browns plus 3.5.
Is that
everybody
Louis?
Has an opinion?
Lewis on the Browns tonight?
Lewis hates the Steelers. He loves the Steelers, but he bets against them.
Wow. He's on the Browns tonight.
I don't know.
All right. We'll have to wait and see how that
Lewis
plays
is
out.
Delivering the bread. Make sure the bread's delivered.
Here are some Evan Abrams stats for week 12 in the NFL. Double-digit favorites are 5-0 straight up and against the spread through week 11. The only better mark in the history of Evan Abrams' numbers was 2004 when it was an 8-0 start to double-digit favorites. There's a sweet spot here, Dave, that's a little interesting. Remember the run for dogs of 6 points or more? And how it was like 17-3-1 dogs early in the year. Yeah. It still is pretty good. 6 point dogs or more. It seems like 6 to 9.5 is a number you want to avoid. That's a difficult number to bet in the NFL this year. If it's 10 plus, you lay it. If it's 6 or less, you can probably get involved with taking or laying it. But 6, 7, 8, 9 and the half numbers in between, tough to bet it.
Why? Because of
just trends.
The dogs are covering, you're saying?
Well, 6+ dogs were covering consistently. They were winning games outright.
Yeah.
Early in the year. It's still very profitable this year from a 6 point plus dog has still been very profitable this year. But once you get to 10, it's 5-0 to the favorite.
Oh, yeah. The double-digit favorites. I mean, the bad teams are demonstratively bad.
So Cowboys get killed this weekend.
Probably.
Killed.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Dallas has only been a dog of 4 points or more once in the last 20 years. Like there's always Dallas money. Dallas money always keeps their numbers depressed. They never get to 10.5.
7.5 point dogs at home on Monday night. Like
0-5.
This is one of those this is one of those situations where as the book, you got to find a number that somebody's going to take Dallas. Make it 12. See if they'll take 12. Seriously, like what are they? They're not going to stop them. I mean, that's the problem. Their defense is trying, but they can't stop anybody. Houston, who's not really an overwhelming offense, punished them running the football. Washington's probably going to punish them offensively. And now they can't do anything offensively. Cowboys can't do anything. Picks, can't run the ball. Feel bad. That guy running in towards the line. He's getting hit before he even gets to the line.
Yeah, it does feel like the Cowboys have quit. It's a fair point. It does feel like they've quit. How about passing offenses? Teams that have thrown for less than 200 yards in the game this season are 73, 68, and 2 against the number. That used to be a death number in the NFL.
Old school football is back, baby. Run the football and play defense.
If you threw for less than 200 yards in a game, you were almost always losing or winning in a blowout. Like you were not consistently covering numbers. Where did it go? Where did the offense go?
They got too good with passing the ball, and the only defense was, even playing defense is getting hard, is we'll keep the ball. You'll get less chances. So we'll run it, and we'll run it, and we'll run it more. And then when you think we're going to pass it, we'll probably run it. And then occasionally we'll pass it when we're supposed to run it. Right?
And bad QB play too. On top of that, the quarterbacks are young, inexperienced, can't really play. The Titans are they're 1-9 against the spread. Just the second time in the last 30 years the team has been this bad.
And yet there's guys like T.S. Sparks, our guy, just going to stick with them.
Every week.
Just got the picks, and he's on the Titans again. And I went on with Bob and Sam down in Knoxville. And we talked about the Titans, and I told them weeks ago, and we had a fun segment today. They're like, "What do we do about the Titans?" I'm like, "I have nothing."
Bet against them.
It literally bet against them.
Just bet against them the rest of the way. Blindly bet against them because they are an absolute dumpster fire.
They're playing Houston though this week.
Yeah, they're gonna get killed. Number 7.5. They're gonna get killed.
Is there one person that's gonna take Tennessee up even in a teaser?
Everyone will pull the Titans down. 1.5. Every teaser will be Titans.
Texans
Texans minus 1.5.
Jeez, that's going to be on everybody's card.
Every money line parlay card.
Oh,
they're garbage. Purdy's a dog. 31 regular season starts. He's never been a dog with the Niners.
How is that possible?
37 games started. He's been a dog one time against the playoffs against Philadelphia. He got hurt and they lost 31-7.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, it helps when you're playing on a roster like he's been playing on.
There wasn't one time where he went to Seattle and they were a dog, or like
1-point favorite, 2-point favorite. He's never been a dog.
Rams?
Never been a dog.
Man,
there we go, Vinny. Niners outright win.
Give him a poll. We haven't had a poll all show. Give him a poll. Packers -2, Niners +2.
Boy.
We'll do more of these tomorrow for Roll Call Friday. We'll ask more of the NFL questions tomorrow. We get another day of information. Crap. I don't know. I like Green Bay. I think Green Bay got away with one last week. They're supposed to lose that game.
Yep.
But
does that mean they win this week because they got the lucky win and they bounce back and this is the game they're supposed to have won?
Maybe. But San Francisco looks
awful.
They're just not the same.
No, I saw a guy this morning who was on KNBR. I listened to a clip of it this morning. He's been covering the team for 25 years. He says this is the most underachieving Niners team he's ever covered. They are every week. They are more talented than their opponent. Every week they should have at least won or been competitive. And he goes, this team is. He doesn't understand what's wrong with this team. Underachieving, delivering on all the expectations that they thought the team was going to have for this season. They're getting Kittle back, which is big.
Okay.
He's playing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kept waiting last week for. I feel like the offense is like, I don't know. I don't want to say sputtering, but like you're just waiting for them to just lay it on somebody, and they get a couple touchdowns, and then it's like, we're waiting, we're hanging around with this,
Doesn't work.
and all of a sudden Seattle came back and won. I don't know.
Sebastian Anthony, Stephen Colbert now is doing come and go. They're stealing our bit. The Colbert Show is taking our bit. That's not fair.
Wow.
Taking our bits. Come on now.
Really, Seabass?
Wow. Taking our bets. Taking our
All
bets.
right, Colbert.
That's fine, Stephen Colbert. Well, we see you. We see
I'll
you work.
come to New York and be on the show. We can talk about this. You know,
Circa Survivor. We are down to 99. $144,000 implied value of these entries.
Yes.
99 out of 14,266.
Dear Lord.
Guys, if you're in this contest, you must make 2 picks coming up in the next week. You must pick this week and you must pick Thursday. And then you got to pick Sunday again.
Pick Thursday. Right. You got the turnaround from Thursday/Friday, because you can use that Friday game to then pick again. It's the hardest week. Of the year
3 picks in 9 days.
Yeah.
Or 10 days. This is when it gets really real. Auntie, baby.
Oh, somebody say Survivor? Hello, Auntie.
Okay. 144,000. If you have a ticket, if you're live of the 99 entries that are left, if you have one of them, we know 3 people who do. My God, how do you not shop it at the moment? What would you take for it? 150?
I don't know. You're playing to win, baby. I don't know. We spoke to Auntie about this on the show, producing the show. Auntie said he ain't selling it.
Good for him.
He's going
Let
for
it ride. Let it
Yeah.
ride. At this point, especially if you make it out, if you pick 3 winners in the next 10 days, what's the number on December the 5th? What's the number?
But you see the Thanksgiving Day games?
Yep.
I mean, can you believe this? But
if you have teams
hopefully
left,
you save Detroit, because Detroit's
everyone
11.
everyone saved the Cowboys. Like everyone, that was the whole thing going into it. You got to save the Cowboys.
They're 2.5. They're favored.
I know, but still.
They're 2.5 against the Giants. Can you imagine having to use them? Or Green Bay is 3.5 against Miami. Okay. Or Kansas City is a gigantic favorite against Vegas.
Raiders on Friday, Black Friday.
Yeah. So that's the one. I mean, I think a lot of people have been saving the Chiefs or the Lions. I think that's your Thursday, Friday special. Then, I mean, I don't want to say it, but the lines for Sunday.
Good luck.
December 1st.
Good luck.
7, 1.5, 1.5, 2.5, 6.5, 4, 1.5, also another 6.5 on the road, 2.5, 3, 3, and Monday night 7. Good luck. There's 3 games that aren't 4 or less. 3.
What's the number? There's 99 people who are left. What's the number?
Half.
45 or 50.
I mean, maybe even less. I don't know. I got to look at the availability thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, because if people got the something saved up, for that Thursday, Friday, that's one thing. But like, I mean, the road favorites, the 6.5 on the road is Houston at Jacksonville.
Good luck.
Does that make you feel good? The other one is Tampa at Carolina. The only home favorite is Washington at home against Tennessee.
So we made the Thanksgiving. Do we get to Christmas?
Yes.
With how many people? 6, 5, 4?
Through Christmas?
Just 2 to pick. Because that's the other extra week is Christmas.
Right. Yeah. I have to look at the schedule. I don't know.
Got to make 2 picks that week. You got to make Christmas games, and you got to pick that Sunday games.
Oh, it's going to be ridiculously stressful. If you guys are in the Brigade Proxy Service, if you're using tonight's game, get your picks in. Too, by the way. Send it to the text number 702-570-8255.
Why are you using this game? Do not use divisional games on Thursday.
A lot of people are using it. The phone's been blowing up. Hit the stinger on the way out. Give them the stinger.
Give it away. Why? Don't use this game, guys. What? No.
For all the OGs.
Just woke up everybody who was sleeping, watching a sports grid. all of them just went, what the hell was that?
Right?
Hi, guys. The TV's on. Shut the TV off. Go to bed. It's late night for you guys on that. If you guys are with us live, don't move. We got some more stuff for you guys coming in bonus time. If you're on the replay crew, thank you for being here. Thank you to Adam Bjorn and for Prime Sports for being here on Thursdays. For us, we are back tomorrow for a Roll Call Friday. Rest of you guys, bonus time. Wait, was it a stinger? I couldn't hear it. Your ears are gone. That's why. Right. So this is for the Big Ten bashing portion of the of the schedule.
Oh,
of the show.
Greg Sankey, this for tomorrow.
Yeah, because you do it now. It's fun.
Nice.
Do you see a common theme with the top teams on this list, Dave? See a common theme with the teams on the bottom of this list?
SEC. Then BYU is Mountain West.
Big 12.
Big 12, I mean. And then, there's a Big 10 team. There's a Big 10 team. There's a Big 10 team. There's an ACC team.
ACC team.
And then
Mountain West, Big 10.
Okay. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Sankey worked for the SEC?
He used to.
Uh-huh.
He used to. Yeah, he was a commissioner for a while.
Surprise. Got to check the sources.
Well,
gotta check the sources.
It's ESPN, it's Massey Peabody, and it's Sagard. It's your three power rated.
Yeah.
Looking at schedule strength. Absolutely. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, Ole Miss, and Texas. Your top schedules, 6 of them in college football. Again, I asked this question earlier in the week. I'm going to ask it again. Do we care about who you played or do we care about who you beat? Which is more important?
Why can't you care about them both?
Because your schedule strength, if it's weak, it has to matter. It has to mean something. Who you played, if you beat them or you lost to them on the road, it should matter. But it's not at the moment. Right now, it's all about wins. Just win games, be undefeated, and you get into the playoff as of right now. So this is everybody in Indiana. You don't want to hear this. But this is, you guys are going to lose and you're going to be 10-1 and there's going to be a 3-loss team that gets into the playoff and you're not going to get in.
Probably true.
And it's probably going to be right. It's probably going to be the right thing to have to leave Indiana on the sidelines. And everybody in Indiana is going to freak out when it happens.
Man. It's going to be, oh man. I mean, it'd be amazing if Indiana wins Saturday. I don't think they're going to win.
I will love it. I think they're going to lose by double digits.
Love to see them win.
They haven't seen a defense anything like Ohio State. Anything like Ohio State.
Oh.
Okay, LL. Put the best teams. Record doesn't matter. Welcome to the BCS. How do you determine who the best teams are if the record doesn't matter? That's the problem.
That's been the problem.
We have automatic qualifiers now, which is good. We got that. You win the conference, you're in. So that's good. We've solved that, which is big. But the at-large conversation is still very much one that's going to be hot and argued.
I mean, the Big 12 is only getting 1, right? Can we agree on that?
I think so. I feel bad. I think it stinks, but yes, I think you're right. It's either BYU or Colorado. And as we talked about earlier in the week, they sure as hell want Dion in that thing. If they can find
if Kansas beats Colorado.
BYU. Oh, this week. Okay, yeah. They're dead. Yeah, they're out.
Arizona State beats BYU. Then Iowa State gets back in the conversation and gets in the championship game and wins it. Iowa State's going to the playoff.
Which I'm okay with, to be honest with you. I'm okay with that. They played well. I mean, that's a good football team. They turned the ball over. They got some quarterback questions. Good coaching, Campbell. I like Iowa State. They'll be 17-point dogs at Ohio State.
So is that good?
No. But I mean, like, that's the problem with the Big 12. The Big 12 just doesn't have anybody that really can match up with the other power conferences, SEC, Big 10. They just don't really have anybody, you know. It's been a kind of a, you know, Kansas is going to fuck the whole thing up. Kansas is going to be responsible for making the Big 12's life a living hell.
They could.
Beating BYU, beating Colorado.
Right.
It's not good.
Oh, man. I don't know. The whole thing is going to be to
bet against the ACC and the Big 12
right?
rep. Yeah. And Miami's going to have a lot to prove because Miami is going to get a bye. So if they win the ACC, if SMU gets left out and Miami gets in and they get a bye and they lose their first game by 14, whoa. I mean, a lot of angry people in the Big 12. That's going to be the problem with that's going to be the problem for the the automatic qualifiers.
Right.
Is that the automatic qualifiers get in and they get curb stomped by teams that were at large bids. It's just going to look bad.
I mean, it happens with the 8-9 game.
Correct. All the time. Yep.
The
Absolutely
5-12
right.
game in the
agreed.
You know,
yep.
In the conference in the NCAA tournament. So it's going to happen in the football. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah. And I'm okay with it if it happens, but it's going to be fun. I'm wearing the Red Sox gear today because I'm still keeping this topic alive until it happens. Juan Soto was impressed with the Red Sox.
It's not happening.
Wow. You sure?
I think it's all negotiating tactics.
So it's just leverage.
That's all.
It could be. 100% it could be.
That's the way I read it. Juan Soto was impressed.
On the Mets side? Who is he leveraging?
Know. I think he's trying to get the New York teams to just outbid each other. And he's saying that, yeah, I'm interested in Boston. Sure. Yeah. Boston's doing great things. Farm club's awesome.
What is?
I know. True. Yeah. The Pirates
$600 million
Club has been awesome for 20 years.
No, it hasn't. I mean, Dombrowski killed it. They had to build it back up after Dombrowski. He traded everything away. They won a championship because of it, but in 2018, but they gave all their prospects away to win it all. I'll be curious to see if Juan Soto, like the last time we saw this type of deal with A-Rod and other, like Boras is notorious for getting teams to negotiate against themselves. And like everybody else has dropped out of it, and the number goes higher and higher and higher and higher. How high will the Red Sox go? Because they're telling everybody in the local media that they will not be outbid for Soto. It's not about money. So he'll pick somebody else, but they're going to match the money. Whoever else is going to come up with, they're going to match it. So it's up to him to pick where he wants to play. New York or Boston. Want to be a Met, want to be a Yankee, want to be a Red Sox. And the Sox could pay him $700 million. They really could.
So he's not going to the Blue Jays?
Not going to the Blue Jays. No. I just don't know. Because of the problems that the Red Sox have had PR-wise with Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts and the fact that they would not spend for even their homegrown guy. At 26 years of age, this is a unicorn. You don't get to bet on a guy before he goes into his prime. Like, Soto's going into his prime. So you got some serious money that you can give this guy and feel pretty good about him being on the field and delivering for you. It's not going to be a 36-year-old broken down outfielder at the end of the contract. You know, it's going to be 36 at the end of the 10-year deal. So it's like, you know, he'll have opt-outs along the way and he'll have, you know, different ways of coming in. But
Trout got that money, got hurt.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's so hard to give someone that long-term and that money in baseball. It's one tweak and it's done. Like, it's just, I want to pay you for right now. I'll give you 5 years and we'll give you whatever you want.
Fair. I wanted them to do that with Mookie, and Mookie didn't want it, and they wouldn't do it either. But I wanted to give Mookie $25 million a year for 5 years. And no, he wanted longer term, wanted more money, and he got it from the Dodgers. Red Sox are going to give a lot of money to Blake Snell if they can land him. They want one or two starting pitchers. They're going to get Giolito back off the injury, so he's going to be your number 3. They want to pay for a number 1 and a number 2, and then have Bayo be your 4, and then kind of a rotation of the 5. Build the bullpen up, and then try to find your way to have your young bats around Soto and have a really young core. It's possible, but Soto is the deal. He's the guy. Yeah. Soto, Duran, Devers. Yes, that's an unbelievable team. But Soto's the missing piece that may not happen. So.
Man, that's pretty good. That would be pretty good top of the lineup.
And Casa is coming back off injury, and you've got
right. If he comes back and is anything that everybody's talking about him being, holy crap!
You got another bat. You got another power. You got 4 power bats in the lineup, and you got a good defensive team. Devers, your shortstop needs to be addressed. I don't think Trevor Story is the long-term solution at shortstop, but for now he's a stopgap, so you can play him there if you need to. But it's all contingent on whether or not Juan Soto wants to be a Red Sox. And you could be right. I mean, this is all, whenever you hear negotiating in the public, you got to be very curious about Scott Boras. He doesn't do it very often.
He knows I'm both going to, I mean, he got the guy who did what he did for the Yankees, and the Mets just waiting to make him a Met. Yep. I don't know. It feels like all of that. Emerson, condolences to your wife. I just saw his in the chat. He said, he's delayed in the Boston airport waiting to go to my wife's grandfather's funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
And sorry, we didn't mean to text you.
Jeez.
I did not text you back. I have the notifications off on my phone to concentrate on the show. Emerson,
goodness gracious.
Love you, brother.
Time for better. All right, just 2 ones for you. I'm going over 36.5. I'm not going to play around with teasing this at all. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll just suck it up and deal with it. And primetime unders have been a thing. Just think 36.5 is too low with this Browns defense. I think they're giving up points.
Agree. I say this is a bet.
Okay. Oregon State, Oregon. College basketball. First road game for Oregon of the year. Civil War. These two teams hate each other. Short little drive for Oregon, but it's still going to be a very, very, very. Oh, Grandpa Joe. Oh, guys. Oh, he's 92 years old. I had a Grandpa Joe too, Emerson. Bit best to you guys. That sucks. I think Oregon State can win the game outright. Plus 6.
Dog. Sign me up. Home dog. Bet.
First game for Oregon on the road this year. Hostile environment. I can't wait to. This is going to be a fun game late night. If you want someone to watch late night, this is a game you guys can watch on late night.
Okay.
Favorite thing about today is what?
This morning I saw it on the social. Eddie Olczyk spoke about his fight through cancer, and I posted on my Twitter and purposely didn't post anything since because I like to leave some stuff up there. People find my feed, and then it gets a lot of views, different things like that. Mm-hmm. Man, he spoke from the heart for 5 minutes about like it was real. Yesterday was hockey fights cancer. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing when they turn the uniforms a different color and they do all this other stuff. We talk about sports and we love sports. It's the games, it's this and that, but it's a show about life, like every day here. And the games bring us all together, whether you're a fan of this team, you're a fan of that team, and all this other stuff. And it is what it is, but like life is real. Cancer has touched so many people in their life in bad ways. People have had to fight through it and they've overcome it. Other times the story doesn't end good and all these other things. And, you go through battles, and I don't know. My favorite thing about today was Eddie just looking at that camera and speaking from the heart about having someone keep him motivated. Because we've taken these emails and texts, and if you guys email the show, askthebvb@gmail.com, we try to answer them. I've been terrible about the hats. We're going to get the hats out, and we send them out and do stuff like that. You're not alone, and even when you are alone, you're not alone because of shows like us. I mean, and things like this. And when he said that today about his wife and all the different things that he was been involved in sports. His wife gave him the best motivational speech ever. And his kids were the reason that, his will to live. Everybody got to find something. If you're not married, if you don't have kids, there's something that you can find that makes today worth living for. Mm-hmm. And you get bad news, you got to find a way to just live it and get over it, go to sleep and wake up the next day and keep fighting. So that was my favorite thing about today. I saw it and I went, man, that one hit me in the right spot. I was glad to hear it was, he's better, at least right now. And I thought of my dad. I mean, the first time I heard cancer was my grandmother had breast cancer. I will never forget the day. I was sitting in the living room. Everyone went in the bathroom and came out. And everybody was crying. And I was like, what's going on? Well, Grandma Sherapan has cancer. Well, what does that mean? I was like 12. Okay. Then my dad had it. And then brother Doug, had colon cancer, and he's fighting it by himself. He's got 3 kids, and his whole life got turned upside down. And I was like, man, and so I know there's guys out there that have watched and listened to the show, and their mom has it, their grandmother has it, and other stuff. What does that say? Rincon, I stopped drinking alcohol with some help from you 2 gentlemen, made me a better man. Wow. That's unbelievable. Thank you, Rincon.
I'm glad to hear it too. Good job out of you. Hopefully,
it's fantastic.
If you need help, you know where to find us too. Just keep that. The irony of ironies is that as you posted that, not even kidding, you post it, I see it. Text from my mother. My aunt is out of surgery this morning. She had major cancer surgery this morning. They removed multiple organs from my aunt this morning.
Her sister?
Yeah. My aunt, my mom's sister. So as you're posting this fighting cancer thing, yeah, it was like, it hit me like right between my eyes. I was like, damn, I'm watching this Eddie Olczyk thing. And the text comes from my mother, from my cousin. She sent out a group text explaining everything that they did. They got it all. The
one in Arizona?
No, she's in Maine.
Okay.
My mom has 5 sisters, so it's hard to keep track.
Right.
But she has abdominal cancer, and they had to go in and they took out a lot of things. They took out. Her life's going to be very different after today, but she should recover and to survive. It's just very scary. She's been a picture of health. My aunt is this sister of my mom is like a rail thin athlete, has biked and walked 10 miles a day for her entire life. And she found something funny on her abdomen and said, Doc, what's this? And they went ahead and did a biopsy, and they said, you're having surgery in 2 weeks. And they're like, what? And they're like, we have to go get this right now before it spreads. And it had grown in those 2 weeks. It had tripled in size. It had grown. She had a really rapidly aggressive form of cancer that they had to get it out of her fast. So just to show you how fast cancer can touch a family, you post that. And then like, I get the text from my mother saying, your aunt's out of surgery. Here's the update as to what they did this morning in Boston.
It picks you. You don't get to pick it.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, you can be a model of health, and then you just wake up and something don't feel right or something, and you go get checked, and you're like, wait, what? I mean, whoo.
Yeah.
So, by the way, did you see this from Brandon S? Right in the chat? I started BetterHelp because of you guys, and the promo code to help me through my problems in life. I thank you guys all the time.
Whoa,
Brandon, hat tip to you, sir. That's really that's great for you. And people ask us all the time about who's your sponsors and who's your this, and you never really know if it works. Man, that's my favorite thing about today now. Yeah. Between you and Rincon telling us we're helping you guys, just made my day, man. That's awesome.
That's awesome. On a happier note, congratulations to Justin from Recycled Percussion.
We finished?
This is him finishing with his daughter and his family in Miami. 7 marathons, 7 continents, over 7 days. So that's his oldest daughter in the far left, in the far right or left picture. Uh-huh. That's his whole family running with him in Miami. In part, the guy with the shirt off is his bandmate. And that's me at his house. That's me and Justin at his house in New Hampshire when we hung out to that. When he told me that night, he told me that he was doing this ridiculous thing. He sent me a text this morning because I said, congratulations, this is incredible. I can't believe you're able to. He goes, never again. He said, never again. Never. He was really, his knee gave out really badly. He said in Istanbul, his knee went. And so he basically had to walk the next 2.5 marathons to get it done. Yes. 7 marathons, 7 days on 7 continents. Yes. That's what he called the Great Race, is what he accomplished yesterday in Miami when he finished that accomplishment. And I don't even know how you even I don't know how you do it. I don't know how he did it. He's an athlete. He runs, but that's a whole different type level of running. That's just what the hell? But he finished, which is incredible. And his family was there to cheer him on. And that must have been such a huge accomplishment. And there was a live stream he posted when he finished in Miami and he came across. Yeah. 1 marathon's hard enough. 7 over 7 days with air flights in between. And they flew commercial the last 2 legs. They flew commercial. So
I just can't imagine the flights.
Oh,
if I had to take 7 flights in 7 days, I just try to get up and have breakfast would be an accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
How tired you are just from the travel. So
jet lag. What time is it? What continent are you on? What planet are you on? And then he was good to get up and go run a marathon by doing it. So very, very cool stuff. So congratulations to Justin from Recycle Percussion for doing that. So that's something that I like setting bars for myself. That's a bar I'm not going to attempt. Sorry, I'm not
good.
I'm good on that.
We're good.
We're back tomorrow for a Roll Call Friday, guys. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you. Leave a review. Subscribe on either YouTube, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you guys get your audio or video podcasts. Thank you for being here. Roll Call Friday. Hope to see you all back tomorrow for BBB.